Hi guys, this is my review for Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 1. Now my childhood was filled with Power Rangers. I absolutely loved them. I had all the toys, DVDs, clothes, posters, anything got to do with Power Rangers. I would eat it up. I loved it. It was my superhero genre. Nowadays, I like a Batman, I like a Superman, I like a Captain America, an Iron Man. But back then, my superheroes was the Red Ranger, the Pink Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, the Power Rangers. That's what really filled my childhood full of joy. You know, I'm happy to look back at my childhood and think, wow, I had something that I really enjoyed, something that made me happy, and they're fond memories, and I love to have those memories. I really do. Power Rangers was a big impact in my childhood, and I always have respect for the genre, always have respect for the IP, because it gave me so much happiness, and it gives so many people so much happiness, and to this day, it's still going, and it gives many other people so much happiness. So that can't be a bad thing. It has to be a good thing, and I'm excited to watch this new season of Power Rangers for a very interesting reason that I will get into. But look, as I said, I grew up watching all the shows, the movies, absolutely invested into the characters, into the stories. I wanted to be a Power Ranger, you know. But as you get older, you get invested in other things. You know, you play sports, you watch other movies, you try out new things, and you kind of leave behind those childhood elements that impacted you so much, because maybe it might not be as cool anymore, you know, stuff like that. It might get a little more cheesy, childish, and you grow out of it and you get into kind of other movies or other shows, you know, like a Batman, like a Superman, like the Joker. As I got older, those are the characters that started to appeal to me more, because it was very much similar to my own life experiences, that gritty kind of, you know, shitty days, happy days, shitty days, stuff like that. I started to kind of relate to movies more like that. But the Power Rangers genre is huge, it really is. But when the 2017 movie was announced, it gave me big smiles. You know, I was really excited, and I went in opening night, I sat down, popcorn, drink, excited to watch a Power Rangers movie, and you know what, I was blown away. I absolutely loved it, and it's a pity it didn't make much money, because I thought it was the perfect transitional story for Power Rangers. It had that gritty, dark element to it, that real world life elements to it, that grounded story with these characters that with at least one of them, you could definitely relate to them with some of the personal issues that they were going through. And I thought it was a perfect transition for Power Rangers, because the generation that watched the Mighty Morphin ones, the best ones, grew up watching those guys, loving those guys, and then as we got older, we wanted something to eat our teeth into, because we wanted to get into something that was more kind of relatable to what we go through. And Power Rangers 2017 was one of those movies for me, because it's very relatable, very grounded, and I really enjoyed it. It's a pity a sequel didn't happen, because I was excited to revisit these characters, to see them again, to see a new story, because I thought it was the right blend of grittiness, but also paying homage to the original Power Rangers. And I thought it was brilliant. I love the visual effects, the fight scenes, all that kind of stuff. I really thought it was great, but it didn't do well. I know a reboot's coming, and they're going to link in the TV show, one of the TV shows, not this one, a different TV show with the movie, which is a reboot. So I expect it to be a little bit more lighter, but I'm still confident that could be a great movie, hopefully. But it's a big IP, it's a huge IP, and it's one that needs to be kind of invested in, given time to be a big thing. Because on the small screen with children, it's huge, it really is. But look, this new season, I wasn't going to check it out. Now, over the years, I haven't watched every single season. I haven't. Some of them I've checked out, maybe an episode or two, but I haven't been invested. I haven't really stayed with the seasons or anything like that. I just know, oh, this is kind of the thing they're doing with Power Rangers now. Pretty cool. And I've always kept my eye on Power Rangers. You know, I follow all the social media accounts. I've always kept an eye, and I've always thought to myself with certain parts about the Power Rangers seasons, is like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. If I was a kid, that's something that I would have loved, you know what I mean? So that's pretty interesting to look at it, and from that perspective. And some of the seasons have been pretty good, but also a lot of them have been cheesy and childish, and I wouldn't really sit through 30 minutes of watching that kind of cheesiness, because it doesn't really treat its audience with the kind of respect that they can understand plot in some of those seasons. That's just my opinion. But even this season, Dino Fury, I wasn't going to check it out, because it just wasn't interested. But there's been a lot of buzz around this new season of Power Rangers, and I've seen things online, and then I was like, I'm still not going to check it out. But then the first episode came out a few days ago, and people were kind of raving about this new season of Power Rangers. They were giving it rave reviews. They were saying it's pretty badass. The fight sequences are some of the best that Power Rangers have had in years. The suits are badass. The kind of origin story to it all is pretty interesting. And so it kind of piqued my interest, and I said, I should probably check this out. So I sat down to watch Power Rangers Dino Fury. 21 minutes, and you know what? It wasn't a mistake. I really enjoyed this. It really brought me back to my childhood in ways. It did big time. And you know what I liked about this episode is it's very grounded to real world trends that's going on right now. So the main characters that we follow in this episode are Ollie and Amelia. Now Amelia is a kind of this. She works at a place that makes videos, like a YouTube channel, like blogs and vlogs, all that kind of stuff about popular trendy things. So that's kind of what she's working in. And you know what? It's very much similar, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making a video. I'm asking you to give it a like, subscribe, comment, and this is what this kind of building or this kind of job that she's in you have to do. But she isn't really interested in what's trendy right now. She doesn't want to talk about what everyone else wants to talk about. She wants to talk about what she wants to talk about, which is actually pretty interesting, because many people make videos, many people invest their time and stuff that they don't really care about and they don't want to talk about, but they do it because it's popular, you know, that kind of stuff. But what I like about Amelia is she wanted to investigate ghosts and ghouls and monsters and stuff like that, paranormal activity. That's what she wanted to do, but the job she's in doesn't really cater to that because it's not popular. But she kind of persuades her boss to let her go investigate this place in the forest, in the woods, and she's allowed to do it, but that's what interests her. And she goes into the woods and she meets she thinks it's a ghost that she's about to attack and capture with this big net that she has, but it's actually Ollie, this guy, and Ollie's going through the woods going to his mother, who's an archaeologist who's working on something in the woods. So the two of them end up going together because they're going in the same direction. So yeah, pretty simple element there, but they go and they meet Ollie's mother, who's the archaeologist. She's kind of studying these dinosaur statues just in the middle of the woods in a circle, which they're actually pretty badass, to be honest. And that's kind of how the simple story goes. So look, the main plot of this is reporter Amelia accompanies Ollie and his mom, Dr. Akana, to investigate the mysterious Dino Henge status. The trio run into an evil warrior named Void Knight and a threat that puts the entire world in danger. Now, this episode is a lot of fun. The action sequences are badass. Some of the effects are actually pretty cool. Some of the effects aren't that good either because low budget stuff. But the Power Ranger suits are some of the coolest Power Ranger suits that you would probably see. The helmets are really detailed, and they're not like, they don't look cheap, right? They look very, very well. And the villain Void Knight, pretty cool suit, pretty cool voice as well. And yeah, I actually like that character very much. And he's kind of these smokes, I think they're called, as well, is what they're trying to. I get that eventually, yeah. But this episode just was refreshing, and what I liked about the episode as well, not only does it have like real world teams and trends about them kind of talking about popular stuff, but it treats its audience, its viewer, me, who is in his 20s, a kid who maybe 8 or 9, or a teenager, 13 or 14, that they understand plot. And that's the important thing here. There's actually a complicated enough plot. Not overly complicated, but not everybody would like get it as well. You know, you'd have to actually think about the plot, which I like, because a lot of these seasons of Power Rangers in the last 20 years, they've taken their audience as small children, and the plot is secondary. It does not matter. But the plot for this one is actually pretty interesting and something that I'm really invested in for the rest of this season. And that's why I'm going to check out episode 2. Big time, you know. But no, so of course, Amelia, Ollie, they see the Void Knight go into this underground base, so they follow him in, and of course he's up to evil, but then they try and fight off him and his goons, and they eventually get the Power Ranger suits, pick them, you know, they're now Power Rangers, and look, there's actually a lengthy fight sequence in this episode that went on for about 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes, and a lot of the action sequences are one shot, which is brilliant. I hate action that's cut everywhere. This had the camera stayed there, the action went on for a good 30 seconds or so, and I thought the stunt doubles or the actors, if they took part in some of the fight sequences, did a pretty good job, and the action was actually entertaining, and some of the best action that you would see in a Power Rangers show as well. You know, it really does replicate kind of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is great to see. So they're fighting off Void Knight and his little goons. What Void Knight's trying to do is he's trying to get this box, this container of, like the monsters from the Power Rangers, the monsters that kind of appear out of nowhere. I think they're called Smorks or something like that. I can't really remember the name, but they're these gooey things that, of course, evolve into this big monster that in each episode the Power Rangers will have to fight a new monster. And yeah, then they'll hatch. So that's pretty interesting. But also, in this kind of underground lair is Zato, the Dino Red Ranger. So he's there and he's been trapped in ice, or he's been frozen for 65 million years. And the person who's kind of been protecting him, well, not the person, but this kind of cyboric dinosaur, Zolon, which actually is a pretty cool suit. She's been there protecting the Red Ranger for all this time, trying to wake him up, and she hasn't been able to wake him up. But eventually, now there's a threat coming to get the monsters, and the Void Knight is trying to get them. So she's able to awaken the Red Ranger, and the Red Ranger comes and is able to help Amelia and Ollie, and they take place in a big fight sequence, but Void Knight eventually gets away. But yeah, I thought the action was pretty badass. And I actually like Zato is his name. Pretty cool name also, the Red Ranger, and he explains kind of the background, the lore of the Power Rangers, and where his people came from a distant planet. So he explains that to Amelia and Ollie, and it's actually, they actually show the origins. So he had his kind of, his army, his community, trying to fight off Void Knight and all the other monsters on their planet. Then they escaped to Earth, so they had to follow them to Earth. And it was cool because not only did Zato and his army fight Void Knight and the monsters, but also the dinosaurs helped. So you had tigers, you had lions, you had all the dinosaurs helping the Power Rangers fight these monsters. And they actually showed that, which I thought was absolutely badass. It was cool. Like, the visual effects wasn't the best with some of the dinosaurs, but again, the idea was there and you could understand what was going on. But I actually thought that was interesting. And so they were able to fight off the monsters and Void Knight. But also, an interesting part of this, the kind of Power Ranger gods appear to help Zato and his men. They appear, there's these Power Ranger gods. They come down, they're able to give the power to these men to be Power Rangers, and women to be Power Rangers, and also making some of the dinosaurs into robotic dinosaurs for them to use. So that was actually a badass moment. So the Power Rangers, that was the origin of these Power Rangers, the Dino Fury Power Rangers. And yeah, so they had their dinosaurs, they got the new suits from the Power Ranger gods, who are these powerful gods who don't age and have an immense amount of power, and they give it to these men to fight. And it was cool, and they were able to beat all the monsters and Void Knight and trap all the monsters in a container so they wouldn't do this again. So that was a pretty cool backstory. So in this episode, we only get to meet Amelia, who now is the Pink Ranger. We get to meet Ollie, who is the Blue Ranger, and Zato now as well, who is the Red Ranger. So you know what that means? There's more Rangers to come, probably a Yellow Ranger and a Black Ranger. So we'll have to see in the coming episodes who gets picked for that. Pick me! That's what I was saying when I was a child. But yeah, this episode was refreshing. It was very much grounded with real world themes. There wasn't cheesy humor in it that would get your eyes rolling or stuff like that. That's what I thought I was coming into. It very much reminded me of the OG Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin guys. Absolutely love them. I'm actually invested now, and I will definitely check out the rest of this season. I'll check out episode 2. Episode 2 airs tomorrow. So yeah, I'll check it out for the next few episodes. It could get bad. It could get really, really cheesy. But you know what? I should show respect to Power Rangers because it was my childhood. I invested so much into it when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it, and it gave me fond memories. But now this episode kind of brought me back to that as well, and the episode was actually pretty good. So I'll be respectful and check out episode 2 and see what it's like. But guys, Power Rangers, how much of this was your childhood? Did you grow up with Power Rangers? The toys, the games, everything got to do with it. I had it. Oh man, it was great memories. So I'm glad I was able to come across this and it got good reviews for me to check it out, and I'm happy I did check it out. I'm looking forward to episode 2. Because did you like it? Are you planning to check it out? What's your experience has been with Power Rangers? I'm very interested. Let me know below. Give a like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on all the socials, guys. That stuff is in the end credits. And hit that subscribe button and that notification bell for my review of episode 2. Okay, guys, I'll see you later. It's morphin' time!